So as a program chair, you had this amazing success. You had this amazing feedback. Um, you took that into your presidency in 1996 and 97. Thank you for the reminder. Yes, no internet at that time. And
No, we had to get we actually had a print shop down the street from Kodak, and I can't remember, her name was like B or something like that. And you had to get the stuff over there and you had to print it, and then it had to be mailed, and it went to the RES. And then if the a week before the speaker decided that he couldn't make it, or so, the other thing you're always looking for speakers and then trying to prop them up. And we didn't have PowerPoint. It was overheads.
Yes.
Okay. If there were any graphics, it was overheads, like slides.
Okay.
You know, like college, you know.
Or big poster boards that you had printed, right?
Right. If they did that. So you had to sometimes facilitate for the presenter to help them with their back office support.
Okay.
To raise it from a C level presentation to a B plus, A whatever.
So do you feel that the lift is definitely different between the presidency in 1996-97 and the presidency in 06-07, because you all had all this new technology, the internet, everything else you could apply? That in those specific areas, the lift is different.
06-07, you had Windows 95. Okay. Actually, I was the first in 96. I was the first president to where we all got emails. Okay.
Okay.
We didn't have emails. So that's when Joe Lucas said, well, I think that we're advanced enough that we can all have emails. And I went to, when I became the president in May, I went to my boss, Gary Passero, and said, Gary, is the company going to get email? Oh, yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to do that. And also at the time, somehow Passero decided, or the secretary decided, that they should use WordPerfect and Lotus. Okay. So I'm getting files from Bausch and Kodak that are Word and Excel. And, I was kind of saying, listen, the rest of the world is using this. And the secretaries were, well, we like this. It's like, yeah, but your documents we don't have email anyway. So I had to go get my own AOL account at home.
Yeah.
And I would come home at lunch, because I was only maybe 4 miles from the office. I would come home at lunch and I would check emails so I could respond to people.
Gotcha.
I didn't have email at work.
Okay.
So, part of the PMI thing was it elevated my game, because they were, the company I worked for was in the little donkey cart by the side of the road. And I'm dealing with people that are in the third lane of the Autobahn doing 150 miles an hour.
Right.
And I've got to move, ramp up my technical. If I couldn't wait for them.
Right.
I had to up the game.
Oh. So technology still brought a hefty lift, because we had the battle. I totally forgot about that. The battle between WordPerfect and Word, Microsoft Word, and Lotus and Excel, and then it took a while for that to get settled out. Definitely took some years.
And actually, I did a project down in Utica at the Masonic Home when I was at Passero, and that's down in the 315 area code. So I'd gone down there. I left my business card. And I went down the next month for a meeting, and they said, oh, well, we did this or moved the meeting, but we didn't know how to get a hold of you because it didn't have your area code on the card. And Passero only had 325-1000. They never thought that they would ever do anything out of the Rochester area. They just were in their little parochial little bubble. Now, you could ask the question, well, obviously, if I'm sitting in Utica, I can pick up the phone book and tell that Rochester then at the time was 716 area code. Okay.
Right.
So, on the other side is, are you guys really that dumb that you can't figure out that the area code west of you is 716? but I didn't say that.
No, we call those inside voices.
Right.
And I'm sure we have, as you have, and project managers do all the time, because we work with a variety of people. As you said, prior to us starting to record, there's the ability to put your boots on and go work on the front lines and understand what is needed to bring that kind of detail to the project, and then also being able to communicate that to the business level, to the executive level, and being able to change those shoes as you need to change them. And with that, we have the constraints. We have some constraints in thinking and constraints in opening up our mindset to, something outside of our little area. And how do we as project managers and program managers coach that and share that and open up that creativity so we can have a more successful project and put out a more successful product, service, or result. So yes, we thank you for sharing, because it's definitely helpful to hear the growth of creativity and brainstorming and project management in general, but it's also really good to know that we still have coaching to do. We still have listening to do. We still have team building to do. And your stories definitely help share that.
Okay.
One of the things so what made you decide to come back and be president again?
Well, I was asked. Okay.
Were you asked, or were you voluntold?
What happened is we had a couple weak presidents. The president's job, there's a lot of paperwork and a lot of interaction, even more so today, with, I'll call it corporate or international. Okay. International's got all kinds of ideas that they need to, the organization's kind of moved from the local chapter grassroots to a big international business, and we're going to get all these PMPs and look at all this growth and look at all this money and look at all these products we can sell, and we can create all these all these different certifications and stuff, and therefore we need the chapters to be doing this and doing this and doing that and doing whatever. Anyway, that amount, if you're at a Kodak in the old days where you're like, well, I'm the president of PMI Rochester and I need to spend 25% of my week working on PMI stuff, okay, good, do. If you're like me and you're in private consulting where you've got to go get the work, do the work, build the work, and then chase people around to get paid, you do that stuff nights and weekends.
Right.
And so the workload as the president became bigger, the organization became bigger, and we had some presidents that struggled.
Yes.
Okay. And not struggled, weren't up to the lift, and maybe they worked in organizations where it was easy to be kind of going to meetings with your coffee cup and really making it happen, and all of a sudden you had to make it happen. You didn't have a back office to support you.
Right.
So Phyllis Carroll, I think it was Phyllis Carroll, really worked to get things straightened back out.
Okay.
I believe I was right after Phyllis. And Gary Herkins came to me and said, would you please run for president again? Because Phyllis has brought us back up and in good graces with international, and we don't want to see this thing kind of go down the tubes again. We can't find any fresh blood to take the reins. Okay. And so I said, sure.
Okay.
I was 10 years further down the road, knew more. In one sense, it was easier.
What are some of the things that you brought from, by the way, I interviewed Phyllis a little while ago. Fabulous, just fabulous interview. I so enjoyed my conversation with her. What were, and I want to email her and tell her that I spoke with you, and and share, if I can, what were some of the learnings or hindsight that you took with you from 96, 97 that you maybe brought into 06, 07?
Well, we'll go back to, keep the ship on the even keel and out in the deep water.
Okay.
Is don't go off on excursions that we're maybe not so good at, or let's say high risk. I hate to, use that term, but so that was really
the same through line, really, just to keep it going.
And I think it was in the second time around, I had somebody volunteer that wanted to be in charge of PDD in the fall. And they, I think they worked over at Xerox or something, but anyway, they said, so if I'm going to be in charge of PDD, I get to go to symposium, free. It's paid. Yeah, well, yes, you do, because you go to symposium and you try to identify speakers and say, hey, you're there in September, October, and you're saying we have a thing in May, and would you be interested in speaking in Rochester? We'll pay your travel expenses and your, hotel, all that stuff. So she had gone to the Seattle, and then all of a sudden, the first week of December, she said, oh, my workload at Xerox is really coming up. I'm going to have to poof, go away.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, all right, so I need somebody to run this. And then I can't remember Karen's last name, but someone had moved up from, New Jersey or from, whatever, a real Karen, a real pit bull. And I said, is there anything you need me to do? And I go, this.
Good luck.
And there was, she had a team, but you needed a driver. You needed somebody that was,
yes.
on the ball. And so she, from December, got us so that we were where we needed to be. And we had a symposium with, 400 people or whatever.
Wow.
350. But that was the kind of thing where you had to be careful about who was stepping up to the plate and whether they're going to take their cuts.
Okay.
Okay.
So even though you're a volunteer, it's also in your leadership role important to reflect, to ensure that we're not overburdening volunteers that way, or that volunteers understand the scope of the work that they're going to be stepping into, and ensuring that communication happens so that they can make the right decision. Right. And the right decisions can be made for the chapter.
Right.
Speaking of the growth of the chapter, 350, 400 people at a symposium that almost didn't happen. That's fantastic. The growth of the chapter that you saw during your term in 96, 97, and the tools used to help grow that chapter, how is that different 10 years later? And did you see growth increase more quickly because of the new technology and new tools in 06, 07?
Obviously in 06, 07, people had what we were working on. We were working on MS Windows XP.
Yes.
Okay? Yes. So you're on Windows XP.
We're past Vista, right?
Yeah, we're somewhere. But anyway, everybody got internet. Everybody has email. Everybody can open a Word document. Everyone can, so pretty much everyone's playing on the same level with their tools. And you can send out the announcements of the meetings as an email blast. It's not paper anymore. It's not U.S. Post Office.
Right.
And people aren't calling into the RES to say, put me down for chicken or put me down for fish.
Right.
And getting this tally from Lynn over at the RES, people are actually online saying, this is what I want to eat. So a lot of things are smoother,
okay,
but they're more efficient.